Okay, everybody, what's up? So it's the day after the Chargers' historical choke job against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And coming from somebody who's already been an ex-Chargers fan for about 6 years now, because I used to be a Chargers fan, for those that don't know, obviously, me being from San Diego, I was a big Chargers fan. But after that move to Los Angeles, I just said, no, 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 I'm completely done with this team for good. And I think looking back now, I likely made the right decision of just giving up on the Chargers after they left San Diego for LA and just rooting for the Patriots, okay? Yes, and I personally have no regrets of doing this because obviously, a big reason why I chose to root for the Patriots is because that's where a lot of former Charger players went. Rodney Harrison, Junior Seau, a lot of former Chargers went to the Patriots. So I guess that's a reason why I rooted for the Patriots. A lot of people probably think it's because of their success. Not really. It's mainly because a lot of former Chargers went there. That's why I decided to start rooting for the Patriots. And looking back, I have no regrets at all because honestly, dude, I honestly don't understand how anybody can still be a Chargers fan, let alone call themselves a Chargers fan, especially after that choke job they just pulled off in the playoffs against the Jaguars last night, and or before that, and or after that move to Los Angeles. Like, it makes you realize that even after moving to LA, the Chargers are still really good at choking and giving away games. It makes you realize that even after that move to LA, the Chargers, they are still a cursed franchise. I mean, they just are. The Chargers last night just proved to me that they are nothing but a cursed franchise. They're just absolutely 100%, I am convinced, cursed, especially just the way how they lost that game by being up 27-0 and allowing the third largest comeback victory in playoff history, something like that. I know that the largest one I think is between the Bills and the Oilers, but tonight or last night the Chargers just set history, but not the type of history you would expect them to set. You would expect them to maybe set a new record in terms of scoring touchdowns, but the type of record they set, basically, let's just say, benefited the other team by allowing the third largest comeback victory in the playoffs. Yep, in postseason history. That's what the Chargers became famous for last night. And it really comes down to the Chargers just realizing that maybe it's because the ownership is a big reason why the Chargers are cursed. Because, I mean, really, for anybody to still call themselves a Chargers fan, even after all that bullcrap they've been through, the freaking move, and especially that historical choke job they just produced in the playoffs, my real reaction to that is, by still rooting for the Chargers, the only thing you're really doing is wasting your time and making the owners a lot richer. Because especially with the ownership, man, oh my God, I am convinced that the Chargers have the worst ownership in the NFL, especially considering the fact that the owners, they, first of all, when the move from San Diego to LA happened, I'm surprised that the NFL didn't step in and block the move, because you would expect the NFL to block the move, but I guess the NFL just doesn't really give two craps whether the Chargers play in San Diego or Los Angeles. So the NFL, they don't give two craps. They decided to give the Chargers the green light and move to Los Angeles. And that move basically is not only a betrayal for all the real Charger fans that spent their hard-earned money rooting for this team at Qualcomm Stadium, buying the team's merchandise, buying the parking tickets and all that, paying for parking at games, tailgating. You mean to tell me that all of that stuff just went out the toilet, down the toilet, all because of just terrible ownership and or just corporate greed, to be exact? Because there is another thing that I blame for the Chargers move to LA. It's the corporate greed, and I feel like that the corporate greed in the NFL has become way too much nowadays. Obviously, I guess the move to LA is going to make the NFL a lot more money than it did compared to the Chargers being in San Diego, because obviously LA has a way more massive economy than San Diego does. And I guess that's another reason why the Chargers left San Diego for Los Angeles. But let me just say this. If you're still a Chargers fan, I don't know why the heck anybody would still be a Chargers fan at this point. Like, imagine still being a fan of this team, especially after what they did last night. Like, I don't understand how anybody can call themselves a Chargers fan. And don't come at me with this loyalty BS that, oh, you stick with your team through thick and thin. Well, yes, that's true. But it's like, if the ownership isn't going to be loyal to the fans and the city, that the team played in, for the last, 50 years. If the ownership ain't going and the team ain't going to be loyal to the fans, then the fans don't have to be loyal to the team, period. If the owners aren't loyal to the city or the fans, then why should the fans be loyal to this team and continue to waste their hard-earned money week in and week out by just making the owners richer? Because the only thing you're really doing with the Chargers by buying the merchandise, by going to the team's games, the only thing you're really doing is just making the owners a lot richer. That's the only thing you're doing against that. Well, more like you're making, not against, but you're making an ownership richer that doesn't give a crap about the fans or the city of San Diego. That's what you're doing by going to the Charger games. And that probably explains why the Chargers don't really have any fans anymore, is because either, I guess, the people got fed up with the ownership, or because the fans just feel betrayed, and they probably thought to themselves, okay, why am I still rooting for this team? They just left San Diego. Not only is this a betrayal, but this is just a really terrible decision, just a really corporate decision that makes you realize that, hey, even if you're a fan, that's still not going to change the fact that the Chargers will continue to have really inept, incompetent ownership. So yeah, that loyalty talk doesn't really mean a damn thing if the team is not going to be loyal to the fans. Because yes, it's one thing, to be loyal to the team even when the team's going through bad seasons. Yes, I can get that. Like if they didn't move, yes, I can understand that. But to just backstab the fans like that and go against the fans, that's what I meant to say when I said against that. But to go against the fans right there and just basically betray the city is unacceptable in my eyes. That's just absolutely unfreaking acceptable. That if you're still a Chargers fan, just find a different team to root for, okay? And if people give you crap for it, well, tell them to piss off, because it's like, if you're still going and buying the Chargers merchandise, you're just making the owners richer. That's all you're doing by buying the Chargers merch. Because, I mean, really, the Chargers, dude, they are just a franchise that's nothing but a cash cow, a cursed cash cow. That's the best way that I can describe the Chargers. Just a cursed corporate cash cow that is just there so that the owners can be richer, while the fans basically, if the Chargers have any fans left, while the fans are basically given the middle finger. That's really what you're doing by still rooting for the Chargers. So, the wise choice in my eyes would be to give up on this team completely, because they don't care about the fans, so why should you care about the team? Like, really, if a team doesn't care about the fans, you don't have to care about the fans, because that makes you realize, hey, they've not done anything for you. So it's like, really, like, how can anybody still root for the Chargers is beyond me. But yeah, that's all I have to say. See ya.